Hello friends, in previous lecture we have discussed about the types of housing for the dairy animals in detail. In that we have seen the various types of housing system for the dairy animals, that is the number one was the loose housing system, number one was loose housing system. Second one was the conventional housing system, and this conventional housing system is again divided into two systems, that is the head to head housing system and number second tail to tail housing system. Okay. In previous lecture we have already discussed it in detail, so there is no need to discuss it again in detail. Again in last lecture we have also discussed in detail about the water supply on dairy farm, why the water is required, how the water is supplied on dairy farm, and what is the purpose of the water, for what purposes water is generally required on dairy farm, that we have discussed in detail in last lecture. Okay. We have discussed that what purpose water is required on dairy farm. The purpose was number one purpose was that was discussed. Number one was the washing, the water is required for the washing the animal, washing the building, washing various equipments available on dairy farm. Then water is required for the drinking purpose for the animals, laborers. The laborers are available on dairy farms, then the residentials, the peoples who are living on dairy farm, those also required the water for the various purposes. So, the second purpose was the drinking, then third purpose was the feeding. It means that to prepare the feed materials for the dairy animals, then the treatment to give to prepare the various solutions to treat the animals, the water is required. Then the irrigation purpose, if we want to take the green fodders, to produce the green fodders, the water is required. To it means that to grow the various type of the grass, that is the lucerne, gajraj, napier, various fodders like the jawar, bajra, etc. Okay. And for the miscellaneous purpose, the water is also required. So, in this way we have discussed in detail about the purposes of water, and in today's lecture we are going to discuss in detail about the light and ventilation on dairy farm. Okay. So, let us see in detail about the light and ventilation on dairy farm. First of all, let us see the definition of the as we are going to see in detail about the ventilation and light on dairy farm. Let us see first of all the definition of ventilation, how the ventilation may be defined as. So, it is the process of exchanging of exhaled air with fresh air or replacement of expired air with the fresh air in the barn is known as ventilation. Okay. So, this is the definitions. Let us see about let us try to understand the definition of ventilation. It is the process of exchanging of exhaled air. It means that this is the process of exchanging the exhaled air with the fresh air or replacement of expired air with the fresh air in the barn is known as the ventilation. It means that whatever the air is exhaled, that air is replaced with the fresh air, and this is called as the ventilation. If the ventilation is not provided in dairy farm, then what will happen? This exhaled air will remain in that barn as it is. Okay. So, we have to replace this air, and for this purpose the ventilation must be provided in farm. So, this is the main objectives of this ventilation, and this is the definition of ventilation. Now, let us see how the ventilation helps in. Ventilation helps in supply of fresh air. If ventilation is provided, it supplies fresh air. Okay. Number 2, removes bad odor. Removes bad odor. It means whatever the odor is produced in this barn, that is removed with the help of the ventilation. Number 3, provides healthy atmosphere. When this bad odor is removed, it helps to provide healthy atmosphere. Healthy atmosphere. Okay. Number 4, removes dampness of floor. Removes dampness of floor. Okay. Then it means that it helps to dry the floor, and when the floor get dried, it helps to remove the dampness. Okay. So, number 5th is it removes the humid conditions. Removes humid condition. So, these are the importance of the ventilation. As we have seen that ventilation is the process of exchanging exhaled air with the fresh air. Okay. And when the ventilation is provided on the dairy farm, so what will happen? If the ventilation is provided, it supplies the fresh air, it removes the bad odor, means the ventilation helps to remove the bad odor from the barn. It helps to provide the healthy atmosphere, or it helps to create the healthy atmosphere in the barn. Also, the ventilation helps to remove the dampness of floor. It means that it helps to dry the floor, and when the floor get dried, it removes the dampness, then removes the humid conditions. It also helps to remove the bad condition in the barn. So, these are the importance of the ventilation. When the ventilation is provided, it helps it helps to remove the supply, it supplies the fresh air, it removes the bad odor, it provides the healthy atmosphere, it removes the dampness of the floor and removes the humid conditions. So, with the help of all these importance, it creates a healthy atmosphere in the barn. So, therefore, the ventilation must be provided or must be there in the farm. Okay. So, this is all about the ventilation. Let us see about the light. The next point is the light. A cow which is generally weighing 455 kg body weight, it requires about 102 kg of air. So, just see in detail about, if cow is weighing 455 kilogram of body weight, it requires 102 kilogram of air. So, by this way you may understand the importance of the light. Okay. Again, the let us see about the airspace requirement for the each cattle. For each cattle, it requires about 22.5 meter cube of air per cow. It means that it require the air space. This is the air space which is required for per cow, that is the 22.5 meter cube per cow. This is the air space requirement. It means that per cow 22.5 meter cube air space is required. Okay. This point was about this point was for the ventilations. It means that per cow it requires 22.5 meter cube of air space. Okay. Now, let us see about the light. It is the form of radiant energy which travels from its source in electromagnetic waves and is essential condition for vision. Today, just we will see in detail about the definition of light, and in next lecture we are going to see in detail about the various lighting method, that is the sunlight, and which is the natural method of lighting, and second one is the artificial, and artificial again is divided into two different systems, that is the rural area and urban area. So, we will discuss it in detail in next lecture, but in this lecture just see about the definition of the light. Light, it is the form of radiant energy. Okay, just try to understand this radiant energy which travels from its source. It means that the light travels from its source, which is the radiant energy, in electromagnetic waves. Okay. It means that it travels in electromagnetic waves from its source, okay, and is the essential condition for vision. So, it is the essential condition for vision. Suppose we have to see the any kind of thing. So, for that purpose we just need the light. If a light is absent, then it becomes very difficult to see or watch. Okay. So, for this purpose the light is essential. So, this is the definition of the light. We will discuss in detail about the various sources of the light, why light is required, their advantages and disadvantages in our next lecture. So, till today, thank you very much.